Hello and welcome to the fourth video in the craft series. Today we're going to be looking at how to make this 3D canvas picture. Okay, just take you across the table. We'll have a So, just wait while we get you in focus. And there we go. So to get a closer look at the picture that we're going to be creating, it's actually a combination of painted surface, in this case a canvas. You can use paper or acrylic card, and these are actually paper flowers that have been glued on and some little extra additions of glitter there. So, to start this craft, what you'll need is either a canvas or some board that's suitable for acrylic, or a piece of heavy paper. You'll need a pencil and a ruler and a rubber, some acrylic paints and water, paintbrush, that sort of thing. And then of course you need some paper flowers to decorate it with. Now then, for these you can have these sort of small flowers that might come in a craft pack. You can also get some punches, like the one I have here. It's like a hole punch, but instead of punching a hole, I'm going to punch some lovely flowers. Just like so. Flowers actually in the little tray there. There we are. So that's another way you can make the flowers. You can also get some convenient pads, like the ones I have here, which actually have flowers in that you can pop out. So there's all sorts of different ways. You could also maybe get some magazines and just cut out flowers, nice seed catalogue, something like that. There's lots of pictures of flowers in, and then you could cut them out to glue on once you've done your painting. So I'm just going to move these things aside for a moment, and I'll show you how we get started on your picture. Now then, because you may not all be confident with a pencil and drawing. If you're not sure about drawing your container for your flowers, like your vase or your pot or whatever you want to do, you can use something as a guide. So in this case I've got a glass jar here, and I'm just going to draw around the bottom of it, not right the full way, but just to get that nice curve around the bottom. I'm just drawing around it. There we are, to get that kind of shape. You see it a bit closer there. So that's our vase, and then we need a surface for it to sit on. This is where your ruler comes in. So if we imagine this is sitting on a table, and the back of the table might come about so far up in line with the bowl. So I'm putting that on there. Okay. Now you can at this point just sketch in an idea of where you want the top of your vase to be. So it's just something like so. There we go. Right, and then you're ready to paint. So you will need some acrylic paints, a colour that you'd like for your background. In this case I've chosen blue, colour for the surface of your table, and something for your vase, which I've used more like a terracotta kind of colour for this one. So you may not want the pencil lines to show up in your painting, you probably don't, in which case you might want to rub them out a little bit lighter. I'm going to leave these so that you can see them, but you might want to rub at those. Okay, so at this point you would get your paintbrush and, as I say, a nice background colour, in which I chose blue, and you want to be painting, which I've done here. Oops, I'll get you in focus. So you're painting in all the background area up to your line that you've drawn, and then you want a surface, in which case here I've just used a lighter version of the colour above. And to make your painting sort of stand out and look like it's an actual three-dimensional object rather than two-dimensional, you need to create that shadow at the bottom so that we see that and recognise that we're seeing an object on a flat surface, and that's its cast shadow. And all I used for that was a bit of this colour mixed in to make it a bit darker, and a little bit of tiny smidgen of black. Black goes a long way, so you need the tiniest amount just to darken it off to give you a shadow effect. So once you've got that, then you can start thinking about painting your pot. I'm hoping you're not going to lose focus here. So for this, I've got my terracotta colour. I'm mixing the acrylic quite wet because I don't want it to dry or patchy. And then you're just filling in the shape. What you need to think about here when you're filling in, apart from lining up nicely around the edges, is again we want to create an effect of light on a three-dimensional object. So you want one side of your pot to be slightly darker than the other. And in this case, the shadow's on this side, so the slightly lighter area of our pot would be on this side, because the light's obviously striking here, casting a shadow. So this will be the darker side of our pot corresponding to the shadow. So we can pop that on there, and then what I'm going to do to darken it off is just add more paint. So, as you see, I'm getting it quite wet. It just spreads easier. Acrylic can be a bit thick. I'm trembling there trying to get a straight line. So I'm going to rush through this just to give you an idea. What you can do to create the lightness is actually lift the paint off a little bit with a clean brush. So I'm going to twizzle it around. This is a little trick. Turn it upside down. Sometimes you might find that your hand prefers to paint in a certain direction, depending on whether you're left or right-handed. So twizzling your piece round can help you get a nice straight edge. And you see how already I've left this side slightly lighter, and as it's drying you do need to wait for it to dry a little bit, otherwise the paint's just going to lift off again as you add more. You can pop a bit more paint on your darker side. I'm doing it while it is wet, so this may turn into a bit of a disaster, but we're having a go. Let's see, I'm just darkening it off by adding a bit more paint. There. I'll just bring that up a little bit. Can you see there? So we've just got a little bit of a lighter side here, darker shadow, and we're all set, ready to fill our vase full of flowers. So I've got one here that's already dry. I'll just swap these round. And you can see I've already started sticking flowers onto this one. So it really is just a case of a bit of glue and your paper flowers and sticking them on where you want them. What I prefer to do first is actually put your flowers on and arrange them how you want, and then start gluing. And the best thing to do, of course, is wait for your paint to have dried. I think my glue's dried here. And you just pop in some glue to the back of your flower and sticking it onto the canvas. You can, with these, layer them up, which is what I've done with this one here. I think my glue's dried while we've been filming. There we are. And you just keep going in that way until gradually, I'm not going to glue these because I'm having trouble with the glue, but if I just pop them on, just keep going in layers, layering on your flowers, filling your vase, and creating a lovely, slightly three-dimensional image there, as you can see. Like I say, you can add a little bit of extra bling to these by putting some of the little sparkly gems as we've got in there, just to add a little extra, and there we have it. So it's nice and simple, lovely and relaxing to do. You can change your colours around, and like I say, you don't have to use these sort of push-out flowers. You could use flowers that you've cut out from magazines. So I hope you've enjoyed that and that you'll tune in again for another of our craft videos. Thank you.